Elon Musk will become the world's first trillionaire. Think about that. I believe he's positively about to change completely and comprehensively the whole world. Right. The naysayers and the ignorant of his storied and historied past are besmirching him and saying, hey, wait a second, his investment in Twitter, is his downfall. Actually, it's just the opposite. It's going to be a tailwind that raises him beyond. It'll rise him successfully as he executes his new brilliance to prominence. Because remember, he operates in the solution rather than continuing, nagging, never-ending, endless problems in the echo chamber of discussion about the problems. So let's do a cliff notes of his many and soon to be integrated successes that are going to vertically take him to phenomenal achievement. But let's do a metaphor first. I was just on a show talking about my book, Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny, with the Amazon. And Amazon's top guy is Mark Devereaux. And Mark Devereaux started saying, do you know who Roger Bannister was? I said, yeah, in 1953, he's a medical doctor, ran the first 4-minute mile. He said, you got it right. He said, you were the book salesman having sold 500,000 books to do exactly the same, and somebody else is going to try to catch you. I said, well, I'm on to 1 billion, so they're going to have to keep working hard. And good for them, good for us, good for getting readership, good for getting everyone literate. I said, do you know what happened in the next week, Mark? He said, no idea. I said, what happened in the next week is 119 people ran a 4-minute mile. It broke the mold. Now, a couple of years ago, Apple became the first $1 trillion company. Now we got 1 trillion, that's spelled the T dollar companies. Now, back to Elon Musk and how he's going to become a trillionaire and what it takes to become a trillionaire. I think you're going to like it. Note, he studied at the best business school in the world in 1995, went to Wharton, got a double bachelor's degree, did one in physics and one in economics. Now, that's before he went to Stanford. And when he got to Stanford, what did he do? He partnered with Peter Thiel. They created PayPal. They sold PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002. And personally, Musk received $175.8 million. For almost 5 decades, I've taught in all my books, my audios, my seminars around the world that success is a pattern. Success is a platform. Success is not an end game. It is a place from which you got to do greater things. It's not a stop sign. I hit 55, 65, I became a millionaire, a decamillionaire, a centmillionaire, a billionaire. It's so you can continue to do more, better, bigger, stronger, because here, what you're here for is to utilize your consciousness, your mind, your awareness, your soul power to see how far you can go in life. As you watch the historic PayPal videos and watch and look at the images, you can go online and do that, note that back then, the two of them conceived X.com and X card, like a credit card, but an online bank credit card. Think clearly about this online bank. Today, we call it fintech. Today, it's totally understandable. Today, there's a lot of them. But back then, no one else had even envisioned that as the remotest of possibilities. Why? Because the technology did not support it, because we hadn't gone to the moon yet. It was prior, to basically like going to the moon. It was basically an impossibility. Now, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel had a brilliant vision, and only now can be realized some 20 years later. And they sold PayPal, and PayPal never used the name X.com or Xcard. Now we've sufficiently advanced the technology, and Elon Musk realized his vision for seamless money floating everywhere, always, again, using his technology. We're going to get to it in a minute. He bought back the name X.com and Xcard for sentimental reasons, he said. For a private price suspected to exceed $7 million for a domain name, some of a record, some people say. Given his wealth, it's small potatoes when you compare it to SpaceX and Tesla, which we'll talk about too. What I've taught you relentlessly in my Ask book is that asking in our human imagination creates all future reality, because future is where you're going to spend your time. Future is where consciousness is, and you want your future to be bigger, better, stronger, hardier, more exciting for yourself and everyone else. Musk does gigantic asks, and he's asking us to do the same kind of asks that are definitely creating new realities, vast new possibilities, vast new businesses, and can keep the economy, if you're thinking like I'm thinking, from recession and depression. Because recession is 2 continuous months of stagnation of the GDP, gross domestic product. Depression is when we stop the economy and stop all trade. Now, if depression is from stopping trade, which happened in 1898 and then again in 1929, 1939, if that's stopping it, what if you could turn on the key and make it happen like he's about to do? You got to rethink what could happen here. This is brand new stuff. So a quick review of what Elon Musk owns and what will facilitate all this new technology 20 years later. He owns Starlink, a company that will soon have 40,000 satellites in orbit, instantaneously offering global world-round communication. And it's going to be successful in the remotest areas that are not currently covered. So you can't use your cell phone, you can't use your computer, you can't use your pad. Then add to the next thing he owns a smartphone called a Pi phone. It costs half as much as an iPhone. Expected price when it's really for sale, and you may be watching this after it's long for sale, but $650 versus a smartphone is usually about $1,200 to $1,300, depends on where you live and where you're buying. Then he's going to have it be solar rechargeable, so you put it in the sunlight and it runs, and all you got to do is put it in sunlight again, and 80% of the world's population lives within a big band of the equator, so we got a lot of high incidence of sunshine, like where I live here in Scottsdale, Arizona, a lot of sunshine year round, so I can always charge it. Now, the next thing he's got is going to have 2 terabytes of storage. Next, he's going to have instantly camouflage-like or chameleon-like color changing, so you can have that. Now, not much more. Next, he and Kathy Wood, who's an innovation leader and his biggest investor and head of ARK Innovation, she's a big investor in Tesla, but she and he do all these podcasts that you've watched on Bitcoin. And he says, we're going to use Bitcoin and XCard. This has got to wake up your imagination to saying, hey, wait a second. That is not run by a government. That's not run by the Federal Reserve. That's not run by the Treasury Department. What is the possibility here? Now, seemingly, the handwriting's on the wall that our government institutions have printed and created too much money, causing exorbitant, uncontrollable worldwide inflation. Same thing they did during the Depression, right? And what they did during the Depression, the president called on John Pierpont Morgan, and now we know that bank is Morgan Stanley, and later on, his son, Junior, to bail out the government, not once, but twice. To my way of thinking, this time, the only way to get bailed out is if Elon Musk fits the role of Morgan's potentially, can solve the world's single-handedly problem if you combine X.com, XCard, a little bit of Bitcoin understanding, and globally connected phone system. And soon, as he releases this XCard to be distributed on Twitter, perhaps he says for $8 a month. Now, who wouldn't pay $8 a month to have a credit card that you can literally do international business, trade? We're saying the reason Solomon became the richest man in the world is he had 20,000 ships going out of Tyre, and he was doing business with everybody so no one attacked him. He stopped war by creating business. That's the right way to do it. We end war by facilitating trade. Now, what I think he's done is he's outthought, outsold, outmarketed, outconvinced, and now out-delivering many businesses and institutions by creating novel, new, innovative, world-renowned banking system that'll probably be truly free enterprise. And my dad always taught me free enterprise, son, means the more enterprising you are, the freer you are. Well, this guy is massively enterprising and inspiring others to get their biceps and triceps metaphorically built up so they can too. Now, what he had dreamt of in 2001, conceiving PayPal and X.com and possibilities of online banking and XCard, are now almost ready to come to pass. Now, for some of you, you may not remember your basic math, so let me just cover it real quickly. 1,000 times 1,000 is a million. 1,000 times a million is a billion with a B. 1,000 times a billion is a trillion with a T. Now, Musk is purportedly worth, as I read this today, $271 billion. But Musk is running multiple multi-billion-dollar enterprises simultaneously with vast more upside, I say, than anyone has ever imagined. Let's look at it. He wrote all his goals when he was back at Stanford, and now he's executing. He had 5 major goals, and he's reached all of them, but now he's gone on 2 more than that we'll talk about. The energy business in the world, which most people don't know, but we own a little company called Natural Power Concepts in Hawaii, and we make machines. We're a concept company, and we're finding people to build it. But the energy business, I discovered, is an $11 trillion enterprise just in America. Nothing happens without energy. When we have blackouts and brownouts, you can see how quick your food goes bad in the refrigerator, your house gets cold or gets warm, depending on where you're living. Musk believes he has the trifecta of clean, green, deliverable energy within the next 10 years if people will listen to him and participate. He has Tesla EV cars that can solve all the fiendishly problematic problems that no one ever thought of. Everyone said, well, no, I'm not going to have an electric car because it's nothing like except a golf cart. But now he's created it. And then he solved all the riddles of the battery and has batteries now. He's just bought a battery company that's going to roll out your battery rather than have batteries like the kind we're so used to putting in our flashlights. And he's got battery storage walls that'll go on in your garage, and he's now built a brand new roof, and every kind of roof you want, every kind of color you want, all kinds of stuff. You can't even tell it's a solar roof if you're in the right area, so it'll work. It suddenly makes the world different, and it'll last 30 years. Well, suddenly it increases the value of the house because it's an energy self-generator, and you're no longer paying a utility. And he predicts most roofs in America are going to have to be replaced in the next 20 years. He said, look, I'll finance all of them when they have good credit, and voila, endless business. But suddenly, no pollution on that end. Now, he's managed an IPO on Wall Street, survived relentless government interference and eruptions, braved all the media attacks. Additionally, in 2008, he staffed off personal bankruptcy by pouring $55 million of his own money to keep his company alive and afloat, all the while pushing SpaceX towards liftoff. Now, Tesla is a phenomenal achievement alone for anyone, but Musk is on track now to sell 1.4 million EVs globally in 2022. Now, if you're watching this way in the future, that may look small compared to what he says he's going to do. And yet, it's the most underrated breakthrough may be Tesla's supercharger network. His idea for fast-charging EVs will be his crowning achievement in and of itself and by itself. He's created an electric motor car that has a computer on wheel with AI, artificial intelligence on wheels. Now, Ford, GM, Toyota have never collected driving data. Elon Musk has collected over 2 billion miles worth of driving. And what's significant and brilliant, it's a marketing proof data, and only he owns it. Now, the cars are a collecting and broadcasting system. And let me just give you our experience of it. Before Olivia Newton-John died, her husband and I have been friends, John Easterling, for 30 years. We went to each other's concerts. She talked and sang at churches with me. It was wonderful, great friendship. One day they're in the Tesla and it breaks down. He immediately goes, beep, 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 calls up Tesla. Bingo, they start the car. That's what it means, a broadcasting and receiving station. Now, you can't do that with a gas-guzzling car, but they fixed it on the telephone. This is auto-diagnostics at a level that never occurred to me. And he says, look, we're going to be able to have self-driving vehicles that in reality are going to take Tesla's great engineering to the next level. He believes that HoboCab will be used as rentals in cities rather than car ownership. And back when I was in graduate school with the great and inimitable, brilliant, best student of Einstein, Dr. Buckminster Fuller, Fuller said you got either ownership value or use value. Use value is the only thing that matters. And now supercharging stations are becoming a decision maker for families wanting to buy a car and effortlessly take travel trips. Everybody loves to travel. His company now owns 35,000 supercharger stations around America and the world. And his Cybertruck is built as a utility truck with sports car performance. At its core DNA and success, along with the innovation, superior thing, and engineering, by 2030, he has a goal of building 20 million cars and trucks a year. Don't bet against Elon Musk. To use Warren Buffett's classic term, he has got a moat around him that no other automaker can touch. While he's super busy and super successful at changing the business on the planet, he's also planning on populating Mars. And with 1 million wise Earthians, he wants to personally be buried there, he says. And to get there, he's built the rocket ship, studied how to take himself literally and become a rocket scientist because nobody wanted to work for him at first. So he had to implode all the information and then hire the best. And now he's got it. As an entrepreneurial visionary of our time, he keeps creating, dreaming, promising, delivering more than everyone else, and trying to inspire the rest of us to do the same or more. The most recent question in everyone's mind, will Elon Musk use Twitter? As a visionary, obviously, he sees what others cannot see, especially what the media has been trying to cruise him for, will actually cause us to have freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of ideas, and will reign supreme. Twitter gives him the ability to control the output of communication, and communication is the real lever in the world. It's like little hinges move the big door here in my office. Well, he has the hinges now with total communication. Now, the criticism that he paid too much to help free speech, he isn't selling free speech. He is figuring out how to have the world communicate, do business, do trade, and it's going to be safe, it's going to be unhackable, it's going to be accessible to everyone everywhere, and purportedly military-proof. His investments everywhere are going to make his X card make a difference beyond, as far as I'm guessing, beyond Visa, beyond MasterCard, before an American Express. Now, what else do we know? Elon Musk is a mastered self-promotion. There's not a day you don't see him promoting. He has out-promoted everyone, including Richard Branson, who spends 40% of his time and is my friend doing promotion. Grant Cardone, who said, like real estate is location, location, location. He said, my business is promote. And he's outdone Dr. Jordan Peterson, who's I'm a great hero. I mean, you can watch my YouTube videos on him if you want, and 12 things about him that you probably don't know. To get more media every day than anyone else, Elon Musk is making the platform to create social media that's going to pay lifelong homage to him, I think, rather like what Ted Turner did with CNN when they said this is Ted Turner's folly. No, this is Ted Turner's fascination. This is Ted Turner's greatest invention. This is the thing that's going to cause Ted to be extremely rich. Well, Elon Musk is already extremely rich, but he's going to do more than anyone else. And you can even see this. Excuse me for having a hiccup. You can even see this on my friend Mark Moss's YouTube video called The Real Reason Elon Musk Bought Twitter. This is so much more. I want you just to open your eyes, right? The mind only works when it's open like a parachute. I want you to open your mind to great